In this lecture, we'll create an Android icon that will be used on Google Play. At the end of it, we'll put smart objects to good use. This will take you roughly 15 minutes to complete, depending on how intricate your icon design is going to be. This will be used for an app of mine called Keyboard Plus. If we check the Play Store, we can see SwiftKey is using a minimal approach, but there are also other ones that follow the same line. That's what we're going to go for too. Before we get into it, I want you to think about how you'd approach this project by yourself. So follow my instructions and replicate my design, but then at the end, I want to see a brand new option uploaded to the platform. More on that at the end. Let's get to work. Start with a new canvas that's going to be 512 by 512 pixels. Grab the ellipse tool and click once. Type in 512 pixels for both fields, as these are the official dimensions for Google Play. Now use Ctrl-A and center this shape on the canvas. Also hide your background layer since our icon has to have a transparent background. Go to the bottom of the Layers panel and click on this FX icon so we can add a gradient. For its settings, we'll keep it basic. Normal blending mode with the opacity set at 100%. I want a linear gradient with an angle set at 0 degrees. This means it'll be a horizontal gradient, not vertical, because this is very much in style at the moment. For the left side, I'll use the following color code, DC16F3. This is a pink-purple nuance that's used throughout the app. What can I say? I think it's a very striking and memorable color, so that's why I've used it. For the right side, type in F316B8. This is more towards pink. As you can see, the gradient is very subtle, and that's exactly what I wanted. Far gone are the days where app icons were lifelike representations of actual keyboards. Now, minimal is in, and I'm going to keep that in mind as we continue working on this icon. Next, I'll add inner shadow to the base of my icon. I'll zoom through this style as it's nothing relevant for the subject. I want it set at screen with an opacity of 35%. Pure white will be my color of choice. For the distance, I'll go with 20 pixels. The idea behind it is to create a highlight effect so our icon doesn't feel so barren. It's true we're keeping it clean, but we don't want it under-designed. I'll add another one by clicking on this plus icon. This is going to be underneath the initial one, and I'll change its blend mode to multiply. I'll also tone down the opacity to 40%, but note this should act like a shadow of sorts because it will help create a contour for my icon. Go with a -90-degree angle. For the color, I'll keep it in the same pink region, C2-0B91, and with that, I'm happy with my base. Let's add an uppercase K symbol that stands for keyboard. I've already selected a font, ASAP Bold. I'll enlarge it to 360 pixels and I'll make it white. Center it both horizontally and vertically. This contrast is fantastic. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Let's add a little something extra to it. Launch your Layer Style window and enable an inner shadow effect. Don't worry, we won't add a nasty black effect to it. Here's what I'm going to use. Blend mode, multiply. Color E0, 0C, A7. Opacity 15%. Angle -90 degrees. Distance 8 pixels. This gives it a 3D look, if you will. This is just my first option, but I can always create other variations where I change my mind and keep it completely flat. Next, I'll add a plus symbol because the app's name is Keyboard Plus. This should be placed somewhere in the bottom right. It shouldn't compete with the K, so let's make it about 180 pixels, which is half of the hero element. Copy and paste that layer style because we want to use the same inner shadow that we've previously set up. Even with it, white on white just doesn't work, but here's what we're going to do. Control-click this thumbnail of a plus symbol. This will create a selection. As you can imagine, we're going to use a mask, but we need this selection slightly bigger. To fix that, go to the top menu and click on Select. Now go to Modify, Expand. This will help us out. Let's expand it by 5 pixels. This should be enough. Now switch to the K layer and go to the bottom of the Layers panel. Hold Alt to create an inverted mask and hit this icon. Great stuff. One final thing and I'm happy with it. I want a long shadow. This can be done in many ways, but here's a foolproof method. Go to your toolbox and grab the rectangle tool. Now drag one out on the canvas fairly large. Make sure it's black, though you could go with a darker shade of pink. Now rotate it in such a way where you can line it up with the top left edge of this K symbol. This will require you to precisely move your mouse around, but if that's no good, use your arrow keys from your keyboard. If it's needed, rotate it just a little more so you can also align it with the bottom of the K. Now this isn't right, so hold Ctrl while still in free transform mode. Your cursor will change because you've just entered distort mode. Grab this anchor point and place it correctly. Now here's the thing. Even though you may try to align it, you'll most likely have to use the pen tool to create 1 or 2 extra anchor points. That's because we have some excess black in these regions here. That's unacceptable in my book. For the moment, hit Enter so you can commit to this change. Here's where I'd place these points. If you're having trouble seeing them, you can temporarily change your color. Now with them on my path, I can use the Direct Selection tool by pressing the Control key and move them around in such a way where my shadow is going to be perfect. This requires knowledge of the pen tool, which you should have at this point, but just to make it easier, I'll undo and I'll show you an alternative method. So this is where we're currently at. We have this large black rectangle that needs to be converted to a long shadow. First, lower its opacity to about 30%. Now we need to fade it, so go to the Layers panel and add a mask. Now get the Gradient tool and make sure you have white and black as your foreground and background colors. Here's how my option bar looks. Everything is set at their default values. Now swipe a few times. Most likely you won't get it on the first go, so try longer swipes for a smoother effect, or short ones for a more abrupt transition. It all depends on what you want to do. Take your time with it. In the meantime, please notice there's clearly a problem near the plus symbol. That could have been avoided if we used the pen tool on our rectangle, but I wanted to show you the easy way of fixing it. Grab a black brush by pressing B. Check your size and hardness. I'll go with something like 20 pixels and the hardness, let's go with 50%. Now while on the mask, start to paint over these problematic areas. Zoom in and make sure you remove this shadow that has no place being here. While we're on the subject, you should repeat the process for this top right region of the K. You should have another one going from here to here in this direction. I'll skip that so we can continue with our work. Before we do that, I'll rasterize my rectangle because I want to get rid of that extra part that's hanging outside my canvas. If you use Ctrl-T, you'll see it. That's going to bother me later on, so let's right-click it in the Layers panel and choose Rasterize Layer. Great. Now click the Layer Mask and choose Apply Layer Mask, which will merge these two together. It's not gone yet though. If you hit Ctrl-T, you'll see it's still there. But here's the easiest way of removing it. Get the Crop tool. Now make sure this Delete Cropped Pixels is checked. Now just tap the Enter key and that extra part will be removed. Let me check just to make sure. Okay, we're good to go. Now it's time to bring in the smart objects. I'm sure you're thinking, hey, the job's already done, why do you need smart objects? Well, here's the deal. I just found out I need this icon designed at this current size of 512 by 512, but I also need it at 256 by 256, 128, 64, and 32. This will be used throughout the app, not just for presentation purposes on Google Play, hence I need a robust project that can make my life easier. That means I have to create 4 duplicates of this exact icon. But I'm not that excited with this current design. Most likely I'll update it somewhere in the near future. Does that mean every time I make a change I'll have to go through that process 4 extra times? Well, that's where smart objects come in and save the day. I'll grab all these layers and I'll right-click in the Layers panel. Now I'll choose Convert to Smart Object. Next, I'll increase my canvas size a lot. Duplicate this 4 times and place them around the canvas. Use Ctrl-T and change this % value to pixels from the options bar. Now I'll enable the chain icon and I'll write 256. This will immediately be applied for the other field. Let me do the rest for all the other sizes. This is going to take a minute, but bear with me as the cool stuff is right around the corner. Now, the moment we've been waiting for. After all this build-up, here's the star of the show. Say I've changed my mind. Instead of that pink gradient, I want to make the entire icon green. Not a problem whatsoever. I know there's nothing available in the Layers panel besides Smart Objects. Double-click any of them and you'll enter into a new project that has a .psb extension. Here you have all those layers you right-clicked and converted into a smart object. I'll now make any crazy adjustment and I'll use Ctrl+S to save. It won't ask me for a location or anything like that, as this is still part of my initial PSD. Now close it and witness the power of smart objects. All the copies have been updated. This is how you truly benefit from working with smart objects. These are identical clones that update immediately after one of them is edited. This means you can design your icon at any size and you'll immediately see what it looks like with a completely different image size. This is also great for web design projects. Work once, but see what your project would look like both on a desktop PC and a mobile device at the same time. All I had to do was duplicate my smart object. Nothing else happened. Okay, that wraps up this lecture. I'll see you in a second.